After a year that humanity as a collective would be more than happy to completely forget, Black Widow finally released in theaters on July 9th of 2021, meaning the MCU's fourth phase of films has officially begun. But with the pandemic causing a 14-month delay, and an odd release in terms of storyline placement within the universe, is this film worth seeing? Hello everyone and welcome to ACCulture, where I will be bringing you videos every week discussing my favorite topics in gaming, TV, film, music, and more. By now, hopefully most of you have had a chance to see it, be it in theaters or on Disney Plus with Premier Access, as I will be discussing some spoilery details later in this video. So if you've not had that chance, I will warn you when it's time to click away, unless you do not care about spoilers. But for the first couple minutes, here are my thoughts completely free of any major spoilers. The film begins with a flashback to 1995, showing Natasha's childhood and family, before inevitably everything goes wrong and the family is separated. The next scene was a montage, with opening credits overlaid, but it included a cool remix of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit, which I must highlight. We then jump to 2016, since this movie takes place directly after the events of Captain America Civil War, and the action ensues almost immediately, with the introduction of Taskmaster, who I will discuss in more detail in the spoiler section of this video. We are also introduced to Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova in a scene that sets up the true plot. Essentially, Natasha thought that she had taken down the infamous Red Room, but it turns out she was wrong. Remember how in Assassin's Creed 3 Connor is constantly asking about Charles Lee? Yeah, that's kinda how Natasha is in this film with the Red Room. So she and Yelena team up on a mission to destroy it once and for all. This film includes everything the standard Marvel movie provides: explosive action scenes, goofy comedy in the form of David Harbour's The Red Guardian, and touching character moments. And overall, I do think this was a very solid film, at least for the very beginning of Phase 4. Although it is a send-off for Scarlett Johansson and her character, Florence Pugh stole the show for this one. Yelena is comical in that dry humor sort of way, she's sassy, and she's going to make a fine addition to the future of the MCU, and Florence conveys the character very well. David Harbour also did very well with his character. He definitely did that goofy MCU comic relief character that most films have. Think Guardians of the Galaxy's Drax, Korg from Ragnarok, or Ned from the Spider-Man films, and Red Guardian worked just as those characters did. We also finally learn what happened between Nat and Clint in Budapest. I won't give specifics yet, just know that it is related to the main plot of this film. I've seen some reviews and comments saying that this film tried to push an agenda on them, but I didn't really see that. Yes, this movie is female-led. For whatever reason, some people don't like that, but still, it's not like the movie tries to shove that in your face. At the core, it is a movie about family and making amends, and that message is clear. If you want a classic MCU film that doesn't really change the formula in any major ways, then I think you will be satisfied with this one. It's good enough to hold the brand name and keep it alive. But that doesn't mean this film is without its faults, but to discuss the downfalls, there will be spoilers from this point forward. Okay, so let's talk first about the biggest disappointment of this film, Taskmaster. The villain's introduction was intriguing, with the fight between her and Nat on the bridge. You see her use some of Black Widow's classic moves and a shield similar to Cap's. There's also a scene where she was firing arrows from the top of a massive tank, which was executed in a pretty cool way. So overall, her spectacle was very well done, but it was the lore behind the character that was underwhelming. In the months and months leading up to this film, there were a lot of theories and speculation about who was behind the mask, and I think that hype is what caused some disappointment when it was finally revealed. Last chance to avoid spoilers, because I'm about to reveal one of the biggest twists in the movie. So yeah, Taskmaster was truly Olga Kurylenko. Who the hell is that? Well, she's the daughter of Dreykov, the Red Room's leader and the true villain of this film. Remember how I mentioned Budapest? So what really happened is back in her early S.H.I.E.L.D. days, Nat had to take down the Red Room as a final step in her defection from the Black Widow program. Turns out, Clint was there to aid her on her mission, and she had to relay to him when it was clear to take the shot that would explode the building, presumably killing Dreykov. But she hesitated when his daughter walked into the building. Ultimately, she decided that the little girl's sacrifice was one she was willing to make, so she thought that she had killed a little girl to begin clearing her ledger, but she was mistaken. Dreykov turned his daughter into the perfect soldier, which ended up being Taskmaster. It was disappointing because I think a lot of people, myself included, thought Taskmaster was going to be a character who had not only a personal connection to Natasha, but to the greater MCU as a whole. And although she survived, I think the character is a one-and-done MCU villain, like many before her. And even though I mentioned those awesome scenes above, that was pretty much it. There were a couple more Taskmaster fight scenes during the final battle, but they were not as well done as her earlier scenes. The next mistake I think this film made was its placement on the release timeline. If this movie would have come out in late 2016, any of 2017, or before Infinity War in 2018, it would have hit much better. It's just a tad difficult going back to that era between Civil War and Infinity War, knowing how Thanos' arc plays out, including the death of Natasha. I think if the film had released earlier, then it would have been more well received, but it does not feel like it fits as a prologue to the MCU post-Endgame. But it does help set up an exciting aspect of the future of the MCU in the post-credits scene. This scene shows us Yelena visiting Nat's grave after Endgame when Julia Louis-Dreyfus' Valentina Allegra de Fontaine approaches her. It's made clear that these two characters have already had some sort of interaction, and Yelena may have even already completed some assignments for Valentina. But the real twist is when she reveals Yelena's next target, someone who she says may have had a part to play in Natasha's death, Clint Barton / Hawkeye. Florence Pugh has already been confirmed for the Hawkeye Disney Plus series, so I'm assuming that plotline will at least partially play out in that series. So my final thoughts are that overall I think Black Widow is a solid MCU film, but not the correct film to kick off Phase 4. It does not make it into my top 10 MCU films, which if you want to see those, you can watch this video right here, but it may make it into my top 15. I definitely think if you can safely go watch this film in theaters, then you should, both to help support the theater and the film itself. But I do not think it's worth the $30 price tag on Disney Plus. It's just not that good of a film. If you've seen the movie, I want to know what you think. You can let me know in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, comment below if you're planning on it, and how you're going to. Theater or Disney Plus. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this related to gaming, TV, music, and more. See you all in the next video.